Very curious about your experience growing/selling Naturium and what your day-to-day looks like now.
Wow, that's a complex question. You're hitting me with a big one. So growing Naturium, I mean, one of the best experiences ever because it felt like it was boot camp because we were in lockdown when this all really started. There was a lot of time to focus on just the brand and building it and really building it online, which was a big part of the success of the brand. So it was a lot of boot camp. When I say boot camp, my old business partner, Ben, was an incredible mentor. And from day one, it got serious. It was, here's everything that we need to do. He helped me learn the back end when it comes to operations. And I think that's something that a lot of people are lacking when they start a business, especially a CPG business, meaning consumer packaged goods business. And so I really learned a lot on that side of things because obviously when it comes to marketing and social media and knowing the types of products that my, customers would want, I already felt like I had a good idea. But then there's the business side of things, the operations, the forecasting, handling the finances and looking at your revenue and where you need to be, and even going after investors and even knowing, like, I might know what kind of product I might want to make, but then commercializing that concept. So there was a lot of learning in the building and growing of it. And then the acquisition part, in my opinion, was so much fun. People don't realize that if you want your brand to get acquired, it's actually almost like a year-long process. You have to find your investment banker. And I think investment bankers, I never really understood what investment bankers did. In the past, I knew they handled finances and stuff, but I think I thought of them more in like trading and doing all that stuff that has nothing to do with that. Investment bankers are people that are, I like to think of them almost as like talent managers. Like they take your brand on and then they pitch your brand to all these potential businesses or people that might acquire your brand or invest in your brand. And then they help you through that whole process and help you get the best deal that you might possibly get. So you have to choose your investment banker. Then they take a look at your business and they help you clean it up. And Naturium didn't need a lot of cleaning up. We're a baby brand. So it's more like how you're presenting things. They even pointed out stuff like we didn't have a trademark in Spain. And so they were like, you're going to have to get that trademark done before we can even try to pitch you to sell your company. So these were all really interesting things. And then they prep you for your actual meetings. And what's interesting, it's almost like speed dating. They're presenting your brand to people that are potentially going to acquire it. And then you're kind of weeding those people out. Like they're weeding you out and you're weeding those people out. So you can start with like 100, let's say. I don't even know if we started with 100, but they might, it's like simple conversations about the brand to see if there's any interest. So it's almost like putting your house up for sale when it's like the real estate market, right? It's like you kind of like list your home. In our case, we're not listing our home, but our brand is potentially up for sale for the right buyer. So they're pitching that to these potential buyers. Then you have people come in for your open house and then you weed them out. And then the next phase is actually not even the offer stage. It's that they sign NDAs and then they get a little bit more in depth into your brand. And then from there, you really weed out people by them making offers. And these offers don't necessarily need to be the final offer. Again, like real estate, like you're making an offer on a house, but you're probably going to get into negotiations. Then you go into this phase where you get into these really in-depth meetings. And those meetings, I actually moved back to LA for the entire summer for this because we had so many meetings in person with potential buyers. And that to me was amazing because I got to talk about my brand and what made it so special and what we wanted to still do with it, because you can't get your brand acquired without there being this potential of more growth, right? So it was exciting and fun to me. A lot of people might say that it's the most stressful thing ever, but to me, it was so much fun. My day-to-day now hasn't actually changed that much, if I'm being really honest. I don't handle a lot of the operations, and the biggest relief for me now is that I don't have to figure out where to get cash, which is a huge deal for anybody who has a startup business. You have to constantly manage your cash flow. And cash flow is really hard with products because you have to create products to put into your retailer, but you haven't gotten paid for it yet. So you have to find this cash to not just pay for these products to be made and then shipped out and everything, but then you have to still pay your employees and anything that's happening. You have to pay for it, and you sometimes don't have the cash up front. So you're constantly managing this cash flow, which is something I don't have to do anymore, which is such a relief. Now I get to focus on the stuff that I love, the marketing of it, the innovation, which is creating these products and figuring out how we want to market these products and what makes them so special and the ingredients and everything. And then I get to do appearances and work on distribution, meaning like which retailers we go into, which countries we go into, and going and visiting those places. So you probably see, if you follow me on social media, I'm constantly traveling, and that's because of that.